Hello guys, it's Stephen here, just back from the Etihad after another victory against Spurs. Though it didn't feel like a victory midweek, we did actually win that game, we forget. But this one won, and this one actually counted 1-0 against Spurs. It was horrible, it was niggly, but it was essential in the boiling hot sun. We won. I'm exhausted mentally from that, but we won. As ever though, I want to say thank you to OneFootball for sponsoring this video, the wonderful people over at OneFootball. Do me a massive favour, go and download it in the link in the description below, because it's absolutely brilliant app, I promise you. It's free, it's really good, and it helps support this channel, so go download it. Also, what I say as ever, thank you to my news Patreons. Lee Russell, with a massive pleasure. Lee Russell, thank you. Honestly, mate, you're an absolute hero. I'll do your video very soon for you, as promised. And Blair Robbins, with a massive pleasure as well. Blair, hero once again, let me know your questions and I'll get them done in the Q&A very soon. If you want to get involved, patreon.com/Esteemed Company. If not, just keep watching those videos ever. But let's go on to the game. And we'll go into the overview as ever. Now, we all know after the Spurs game midweek, this game was absolutely huge, especially given the potential emotional drain from that game, given how hard that game physically was for both teams, to be fair, but given how much we've still got left to play for, this game was always going to be a massive one in the running. And in general, it's just because we've played Spurs so many times, to emotionally get the better of them was going to be very, very difficult today. Pep made some big changes as well. Phil Foden, surprisingly, came in for his second only Premier League start ever in a massive game. David Silva dropped to the bench. Zinchenko came in for Mendy. Stones came in for Vincent Kompany. Who else changed? I think that was basically it. Gundogan was playing as number 6, I think, instead of Fernandinho, I think. So in general, it was a wildly dissimilar team, but there were some changes, and there were some eye-catching changes with Foden in particular, a man who's not so far been trusted in a massive game. This was a huge show of faith from Guardiola. Spurs made a couple of changes as well themselves, but this game, basically, it was always going to be very, very, very nervy, and it proved that way. I'm surprised it just ended 1-0 after that game, but, you know, it didn't really matter in the end. On to the first half. Yes, how can we start other than Phil Foden? An early goal, they got the crowd absolutely rocking once again, and as a side note, the atmosphere was really good again. Not quite as crazy as the other day, understandably, given the fact the game was a lot more tense, and in general, not quite as dramatic, shall we say, but it was still a good atmosphere in the boiling hot sun. And Phil Foden with an early goal, perfectly positioned to get on the end of it. Aguero headed back across the goal, and just so good for him. His celebration, his passion, his intensity as he ran to the crowd, absolutely huge moment for the lad, and it settled him into the game from that point. The first half and the second half, I'll just talk about them in broad terms, really, other than a few general moments. So ignore the scrolling thing at the bottom, it might not be quite right. But the first half in general, we had lots of the ball, a lot of possession. Apparently, I can't remember what it should have been now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the penalty should have been in the first half of Bernardo. According to Twitter, it should have been a penalty after he was taken down in the area. Spurs had a couple of good chances as well, if we're being honest. I remember at one point going through and goal, some with a massive challenge from Laporte. They had a few decent shots from inside the area. They probably could have gone in 1-1 at half time, if we're being totally honest. Though we could have had a penalty as well, allegedly. It was a very niggly game of football in that first half. City with all the ball, a lot of energy in the first 20 minutes, actually, for being truthful. Generally, City had a lot more intensity than I thought they were going to do initially. All the players were really working hard, Bernardo being as troublesome as ever on the right wing. And in general, we didn't create loads, but it was a good game of football and a decent performance, even if there were a few signs of leakiness at the back. Second half was kind of more of the same. We didn't get that second goal that I was hoping that we would get to calm all the nerves, but we carried on playing with a decent level of intensity, and in the end, it came a bit of a battle. Spurs didn't have the same amount of chances they did in the first half. We did tighten up a little bit. There were still some signs of rustiness from certain players defensively. Zinchenko and Stones, I think, in general, haven't played much recently, so it's kind of understandable. But we didn't concede. I'm generally surprised that we didn't concede, because Spurs had, they had some moments themselves. There were some great moments of tenacity. Leroy Sané, when he came on, created a decent chance for Sterling. I think it was sat on the exact opposite end of the stadium, so it was hard to see. Sterling nearly got into a fight in the corner as well, with some handbags as the clock played down. In general, it wasn't a vintage game of football in the second half, and I can't remember loads of individual moments from it because I was too busy chewing my nails and being very, very knackered and very, very exhausted mentally from watching that. But we just got through to the final few minutes, and we just about kind of held up with a show of determination and grit. Individually, Ederson was absolutely fantastic. Now, we all praise Ederson frequently for his composure, his calmness, and his almost freakish-like ability to distribute the ball like a midfielder. But this wasn't about that for Ederson today. This was showing that he is actually a good goalkeeper. goalkeeper behind all that. Yes, he can make the odd mistake here and there, but the positives for Ederson far outweigh the negatives. And today was absolutely fantastic between the sticks as well, with some crucial saves and some very big moments for Spurs. He saved us. He 100% saved us and won us the 3 points today. Ederson with an absolute monstrous performance. Once again, I want to give credit to Kyle Walker at right back. He wasn't quite as good as he was the other day, but I thought his energy and his intensity and the willingness to get forward, even if he's not great in the final third in terms of his crossing and stuff like that, he drove us up the pitch frequently. He put in a hell of a shift and absolutely knackered that Spurs left side, almost individually at times. Him and Bernardo just never stopped running. A great performance once again for Walker. He was obviously fired up, and I'm hoping he just read all the positive social media stuff with people saying he played really well, and show more and more of that, please, Kyle. And he did, and he was really good. If he keeps up that intensity, a fantastic player. Yes, it'd be nice to have some more consistency in the final third, but you really can't doubt his defensive solidity and his ability to just absolutely shuttle up that right wing. Stones was a mixed bag, if we're being totally honest. It's his first game in a while, but I thought he was really rusty and half asleep. Some of his distribution wasn't quite good, and he was definitely caught a little bit flat-footed a few times. Spurs got him behind us quite regularly. I'm not going to throw too much shade at Stones because I think he's a very good player, and obviously he hasn't played much football recently. I think he's been a bit injured here and there, and he's I guess Guardiola's preferred other people, but Stones is still fantastic. But today it really wasn't his day. It happens sometimes. It's hard to come back into team and beat your very best at all times, but it didn't cost us in the end, and maybe some valuable minutes for him. Laporte was better than the other night. I'm not saying he was excellent, but he was definitely better than the other night when he had a bit of a stinker. One absolute game-changing challenge on Son when he was through and goal, a wonderful block. I still don't think he was perfect. I still think he was a little bit susceptible with the ball in behind him as well. Probably not helped by Zinchenko being a bit rusty too at left back. Zinchenko was okay and he was solid. It's nice to see him back on the ball, and he still has obviously that incredible left foot of his, very good passing and all that kind of stuff. I don't think he was anywhere near as good as he was a few weeks ago either, though, and that's understandable because he's been injured, but a decent performance. Not a great performance, but a decent performance on his return to the team. It's just good to have him back because he's become a relatively crucial member of the squad. And Gundogan started number 6. A solid performance once again from Gundogan. Not quite at the same level he was the other night in general. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it wasn't quite as dynamic as he was then. In general, though, he put in a decent little shift. Maybe there was one too many holes in between the defence and the midfield that he didn't quite have the general kind of aptitude to plug, because he's not really kind of got the skill for that in general. And we're obviously a lot more solid, I think, when Fernandinho came on in the end. But he started a decent game. Phil Foden. Oh God, Phil. Yes, Phil. How nice is it to see an 18-year-old Manchester City fan start in a crucial title challenge game like that against Spurs, against a team that's given us such heartbreak, and to score the winner, the actual winner. I'm delighted for Phil Foden. This is one thing now that people can't throw Manchester City Football Club, this whole academy thing. Guardiola has been saying for such a long time Foden's part of his plan, to when he's ready, he will play. And do you know what? He's a man of his word. Maybe there's sometimes we've all been keen to see him a little bit more, but he's been slowly more involved, and today was a massive show of faith for him, and you know what, he did well. This wasn't like a scintillating performance, but you wouldn't have known David Silva wasn't playing today on recent form. I'm not trying to be cruel there to David Silva, but you honestly wouldn't. And what Phil Foden can bring to you, especially at a time when the players are tired, is that insatiable energy and that willingness to run at people, that willingness to track and press from the front. We needed that today because we had tired legs, likes of Fernandinho, De Bruyne, Silva. Gundogan have played a lot of football recently, and if anything, it was kind of a surprise masterstroke from Guardiola. He could have easily just played someone more senior, but his energy and his legs, and obviously his willingness to get forward and score goals, is so important. People forget or don't realise maybe how good a goal scorer Foden is. Yes, he was a simple header, but he has that instinct to be there. He does that for the academy teams. Delighted for him, absolutely delighted for him. He's shown that he's worth it. He's going to be involved so much next season. 2 starts now in the Premier League, Brighton I think it was, and this one, and he's been fantastic in both. Fair play to him. He'll go better. He'll get better and better as the older he gets. He's a fantastic player, and he's one of our own. So good. De Bruyne. It doesn't look good, does it? An injury, we don't know how serious it is, but I've got a genuinely huge worry that he could be out for the rest of the season. The way he kicked the ball off the pitch in frustration, he was doing alright before that as well. I don't know, it's hard to judge the performance. I'm just hoping it's not the worst. Guardiola's come out and said he's going to have to find out. He could be out for the rest of the season. You don't know yet, but he's definitely probably going to be out for the next game at the very least. Oh, it's not good, is it? Not good at all. Fernandinho came on and showed up the defence in the field in general, and that's Fernandinho for you. Sterling, I didn't think was absolutely fantastic in terms of his silky, skillful best, but his work rate, his tenacity, so good. He was running and running and running and running, as we always suspect from Sterling. And he's just passion, his intensity. Even when he played through the middle a little bit, he gave the defenders such a hard time with his incredible drive and hunger. He was a massive part of us basically holding out for the 1-0 victory. I've got to go on to Bernardo Silva. Bloody hell, that guy is good, isn't he? To combine such creativity with such kind of diligence and such tenacity, with such skill and such hunger. He's like the perfect little footballer, genuinely is. I can see why Guardiola loves him. I can see why the players love him. I can see why he's going to be up for awards and all that kind of stuff. He's just so good, and we're so blessed for having him. He's almost like a bargain already. Bernardo was fantastic, and it's a big game. There's no one, absolutely no one, that gets on the team sheet ahead of him at the moment, because he just combines everything you want from him. Some of his footwork today, where he kind of did that left foot to right foot to left foot drag thing, just brilliant. Mesmeric, absolutely mesmeric, and a fantastic player. The kind of guy that you can just rely on and he never lets you down. We might see him centrally now a little bit more, maybe, and maybe not, but either way, you can't really argue with starting out wide. Can you really argue with either Bernardo or Sterling starting out wide at the moment? They just bring so much dynamism. Even if Sané's fantastic, and he is, they just bring so much to the team. You can't really deny that. Going forward, in the middle, Aguero had a decent little game. He looked a bit tired to me, like a lot of them did. I don't think he was anywhere near as effective, and he ran down a few blind alleys, so I wasn't surprised to see him come off. Guardiola probably wanted to rest him for the United game. I actually said before he came off to the guy next to me in the stand, I think he's going to bring him off, because when Sané was off, I said, I think you might actually bring Aguero off and put Sterling in the middle, and he did it. I was actually surprised he did it, but I thought, you'll use Sterling's pace, and Aguero was kind of like, can rest out a little bit. It didn't matter, he got the assist, that's all that matters. He had a crucial role, even if he wasn't at his scintillating best. But overall, I'm just happy. As you can see, I'm really pumped up from that. It's great. I was so terrified by this game. Now we go to United at midweek. Hopefully Liverpool drop some points by some kind of miracle. Probably won't happen, but we just got 4 more games left now. 4 more games left, and it's so important. I love this quote from Guardiola. Let me find it now. I can see if I can find it. One sec. Jeff Shees was basically asking about the character shown by the team today. He said, is this shown, the character, whatever, to Guardiola? He said, is that the first time you've noticed that? It's 20 months doing that, 2 seasons. You've discovered the character of my team from this game? No way, my friend. Almost 24 months doing that. We got 100 points. Now we've got 86 at this stage of season, and that's. And this is in a league where titles are won with 78 points, and he's bang on to defend his team, because the character and the drive and determination, we can't win every game ever, we can't, but you cannot deny how much they're putting on the pitch, how much they're leaving behind, how much they're actually working, even if they're not always perfect. Spurs are a very good team, and I never want to see Spurs again. Can we just genuinely not play Spurs for about another year? Can we make it so the next 2 Spurs games at the end of the season, so next, I just want to basically be away from them as far away as possible, because I'm so sick of the sight of Spurs. But we won the game. That is literally all that matters. Manchester City back at the top of the league. We've got 4 more games to make history. Manchester United away, a big one. We've got Leicester, Burnley, and then Brighton. Is it? I've forgotten now. I can't remember. Either way, all I know is that it's tiring, it's stressful, but once again, a great day in the stadium, a great day in the sun, and Manchester City won a game that's crucial to the title challenge from an 18-year-old Manchester City fan, Phil Foden. What more can you ask for than that? Guys, let me know what you think of the game. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to this channel. Download OneFootball. Go and argue in the comments about who deserved man of the match and all that kind of stuff. Like this video, and as ever, I want to say thank you to all these wonderful people scrolling down the side of me here. These are my patrons. Hopefully I'll help this channel go full time one day, because it'd be lovely to be able to make content more and more and more for you guys. Right, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my 2 more days off after this. How good's that? I love bank holiday weekends. Bye bye.